Life falls apart, or at least seems to be falling apart. Your life is falling apart. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. You know, if you hear a noise in the background, it's my dishwasher. It's running. Yes, I am a real person who does dishes. Well, I got to thinking today about when life is falling apart, or at least we feel like it's falling apart. I'm not going to give you those old sayings of like, well, you know, it's all falling together. When life falls apart, it all falls together. You know, I do believe that often when life does fall apart, it is falling together. It is coming together. And yet we just can't see it at the time. But when life is falling apart, that's the last thing someone really needs to hear is, oh, it's all coming together. Sometimes right words are wrong words at the time. I don't believe in lying because lying to me is almost always wrong words. And yet, right words sometimes should be left unsaid when they can become wrong words in the right or wrong situations. And so I believe that sometimes when we are going through something challenging and difficult, the last thing we need to hear is, oh yeah, my uncle so-and-so or my aunt so-and-so, they went through that too, it's all gonna work out fine. You know, sometimes people just need someone to listen to them. Sometimes people just need someone to hear them out. It's not that they're even expected to come up with the solution or the answer to that problem. It's just that sometimes people need comforted rather than advice and rather than well-meaning suggestions or well-meaning sayings. I think when your life is falling apart, it's a very traumatic time. It could be a breakup in a marriage. It could be a financial disaster. It could be, you know, a family member is going through difficult and challenging times. It could be a health crisis. It could be almost anything when life falls apart. And so what do we do when life falls apart? Well, I believe that sometimes we have to slow life down if we can. We slow it down so that we can think clearly. We get as much rest and recharge as we can. We surround ourselves with competent, wise, smart people who may not have the answers, but perhaps they can help us find the answer or sort through all the potential solutions. If we surround ourselves with well-meaning incompetence, that is people who really have no clue what they're talking about beyond comfort. Now, you know, a comfort person is totally different. Sometimes we need comfort people that have no solution, that have no clue in how to solve the problem. But smart ones don't give advice, they just comfort. So we're not talking about comfort people, we're talking about people that can help us navigate through the sharky, murky waters while we're going through it. When life falls apart, it can be one of the most difficult and challenging times, and it can come in any form. And, you know, when life changes, sometimes a part of us is left behind, and sometimes a new part of us begins. And so we have to remember that going through challenging, difficult times is nothing to make light about. And often if we make light about it to someone else, it's diminishing what they feel. If someone else makes light about it to us or tries to give us well-meaning advice that's really just kind of frivolous, it can be very disheartening to us. Often what people need going through a difficult and challenging time are two things. They need comfort, and that can be in the form of a listening ear, a bowl of soup, a hug. And they also need wise counsel. And wise counsel doesn't mean that that answer is there at the moment. It means that there are people around them that support them to help them find the best answer and the best solution. Life can fall apart. It can have major changes to it. Sometimes on the other side of after life has fallen apart, it never looks quite the same, and we have to rebuild in a brand new way. And so when life comes together, it's coming together in a new season, because when life falls apart, often that's the switch that takes us from one season into another. Now, hopefully you never have to go through something like that in order to change seasons. Most seasons change very naturally and in a positive way on their own. But sometimes when life falls apart, it will take us from one season to another in life. And life does change after life falls apart. And it often takes time to rebuild, sometimes a long time to rebuild. But keep your mind focused on the positive. Keep your mind focused on what you can achieve in the future. Even though the future seems very murky right now, there will be clear skies ahead in the future. From my house to yours, may God bless you, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.